Can you point it to me? And then we'll run it.
Yeah, you can say something.
Yeah.
You can say something.
Yeah, wait till he comes back to me and I'll show. I'll point. Tell him. Can you tell him? Come back to me.
Quay vào các bạn ông để ông nói giới thiệu.
Ok, được rồi.
Chris, this is a bit for you. I'll do bits and pieces and go around and show you some of this, but it'll be a bit piecemeal. This is one of our conundrums, is the top corner here. If you look over to here, to your right, can you scan across? Go across.
Chiếu đây, quay đây.
Going across.
Biết.
See all this shell midden at the back here.
Yeah.
And the point at the back, which we'll get closer to in a minute, is where the flowstone has gone through, and you can see the shell midden underneath. Now, what can you
Quay ở chỗ này.
and background?
Quay lại phía góc này. Từ trên này xuống anh nhìn cái cả trên đấy. Từ góc này lên xuống.
This is actually separate from the main rock fall, because this,
Anh chiếu lên trên cái
if you go up, this is the cave roof here and down through. It's all the cave roof. And over to the right is the ladder where we come down. Here. The ladder. And this over to the right further is where the main rock fall from above has been. Down in here. This is the main fall in here. And in the far side, over there where the bags are, you might be able to see the bags, is where, just to the left is where Kath and Joanna are working.
Follow your lamp,
Yeah.
That's the direction. Anh cứ theo cái đèn của ông này.
Rồi.
Okay,
Yên tâm.
finish there. We'll go close. We'll go
gần
close.
hơn, gần hơn.
Yeah.
Thế còn ông chỉ cái đèn, cái hướng nào để quay hướng cái đèn.
Rồi.
Follow your lamp.
Yeah. We can see the shell underneath the flowstone, and where the flowstone's actually broken through here and up the back is also completely full of shell. My first impression was that this material had been dug out from a treasure hunter's hole down there, but we're not convinced, so we're going to excavate some of this material out. So these are the deposits in here. You can actually see the shell under the flowstone, and this flowstone clearly here is broken away from here. This is all really loose, but you see the shell is actually in the deposit. My feeling is that this is another floor, clay floor or something. Okay, so what we're going to do, Long, is we're going to excavate a small piece out of here and have a look. So we've got this, and we can date this flowstone. There. And this was fitted to that. And then we've got all this shell in here, but we'll excavate it out. We'll put a section through here, and you can come down and work with me down here if you want, if you would like.
But carefully because this is low.
Yeah, but you see the shells in the soil. Look, so they're all in here still. So we can. I'm sat on soil. We can take this out and excavate. Does that sound good? Yeah. And whatever, maybe again up there. And we'll see. Okay. Good. Oh no.
Felide. Felide.
Yeah.
Felis Bancarensis.
Yeah, big.
Con báo hay con gì đó.
That's big.
Cái chân của nó đấy.
Đấy là chân của con báo vì có cái lỗ.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah.
The Felis.
This is the hole at the top where you are up here. Then the step ladder that comes down here. And this is the material that's come down from the top, all this. You can see where it slopes down from here, and down and across, and down to the bottom. This down the bottom here is the floor that a lot of this material must be on, here. But it also goes through the gap here, and there's another cavern under the back there, but there doesn't seem to be any cultural material up there. That's the other caverns there. This is where we get up here, and if you can see here, look, it's cracked through. This part's cracked through here and come away, and this is our area at the top where Kath and Joanna are working, where we've got all our animal bone and various bits of pottery up here. If you come down, look, you can see the slope of the material actually goes underneath this area that Kath and that's working on. Now if you follow round, back up over the slope. This is all material that's come from the top. Rock pores, rock material, probably all from the top. This up in the top corner, here's the bottom of the stairs. This up in this very corner up here is where we've just shown you where that flowstone's broken through. And if you go up, you can see it's way underneath this roof. So the material that's come through is clearly all this material, but I'm not sure how that material managed to get up in that top corner here. My first impression was that it was rubble or dump that they've dug out from here. This looks like a pit that someone's been digging in here. And there's lots and lots of shell. As you can see, they've dug out lots of shell in here. But because that flowstone has been broken through at the top there, and the shell is underneath that flowstone, I find it hard to believe that it's come out of here. Off to our left, beyond where we were, this is how it looks. So any suggestions would be handy. There's a big rock fall. The cave drops down. It's quite a long drop on the other side of these rocks down over. Okay, and I'll take you right up to the top above us. You can see what's above. So there's gaps in the roof, as you can see. Probably water. You can see it's very, very active with all these beautiful, beautiful drapes down through here. What I'll now do, we'll move on to the next bit and I'll show you where I'm going to go in a bit. Okay? Good. Okay, Chris, we go. Here's the actual fall again from the other side. This is the wall next to where Kath and that are working and the stairway up to the top there. So we're actually stood on the rock fall itself, all the material that's come down from the top. We stood on it here. If you come down, if we go round and through, this is underneath where Kath and Joanna are working. So go down, I'm going to go down there later, but you can see the slope down and the material going down over. This is the material going down through and underneath. Okay, you can see some of the features of the lower cave. Just out of sight down there is actually the floor. So this goes right down, slopes right down to the bottom. One of the things, there's the floor down there, the bottom. It's about another 10 metres down maybe. The slope's not too bad, it's loose, we'll rope up. But this is really intriguing. You see here, that is just solid shell. And basically it's away from the rock fall itself. It's completely away from the rock fall itself. The fall is here, you can see, but the shell is all situated in that corner. See what I mean, Long?
Yeah.
That's weird, that's strange, isn't it? Look,
yeah.
All that shell down there. You can see it on the slope there a bit, but why it should be concentrated down there, it's hard to see. The other thing we want to check out is this. This to me, what do you think of this, Long? This looks like breccia.
Yeah.
This is a rock breccia, isn't it?
Breccia, yeah.
We need to check this for bone,
Yes,
don't we?
yes.
This is a roof breccia. And we'll knock some of this out to see if there's any animal bone or anything in it.
Is there animal or there's smell also?
We don't know.
Yeah.
But this could be
You come
very
check.
old.
If there is smell, that means there is no animal bone fossil. If
Right.
you can to find orangutan, no cell.
Oh, right, okay. Okay, we'll see. We'll knock a piece off. So that's right down to the bottom. That's underneath the bit that Kath's got there. Okay.
And now we go in.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we'll go in a minute. We'll go in later. We'll get a rope.
Later.
We'll use the rope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Kath and Joanna are working. We're a raised area. Some quite recent lumps of wood and stuff in there. But you can see from the precipitation that it's been very active, but you see it's full of snail. And this here, for example, it looks like a deer scapula. There's bits of antler. There's all kinds of small vertebrate remains, all kinds of material in here. So we're going to record this and take this up. In the corner, just in here, there's a hole through the flowstone, and there's actually shell underneath. So because it's raised, it doesn't look like the deposits are going to be that deep, but there might be something underneath this upper level on top here.
163.
And if you go up past Joanna, sorry Joe's following the light, you can see this is the roof fall, down over here. This is the actual roof fall, and again back up to the ladder and the front of the cave here. Yeah, and up to the ladder there. So if we go down here, this is the slope of the fall. Yeah. And we come down. Fall. This is where they've been digging the hole, where the hole was dug out, and down. And you can see all the debris and material that's come down. And long is just off another floor surface here, or what looks to be a floor surface here, which could have been associated with the one we stood on, and up across here. It's the floor it's come down onto. And this is the material Long's got very excited about, were all these like cobbles of material in here, around on the floor here.
Look like pepper, but maybe not.
Yeah, it might be something else, yeah. And then this is through into the other one that they showed you earlier where you had the standing water. I'll take you down there in a moment, and down through under there. Here, this is the break in this bit of, should we call it a platform, where this is cracked through. Here, you can see the breakage. Whether this was actually associated with the roof fall or not, I don't know. Right, next we're going to go into the other alcove where the bits of pottery are. Okay. Right, this is here. If we go through across here, look, we can see. Oh, shit, they're working. That's where Kath and that are.
Thắm ơi, Thắm.
That's where Kath. That's
Rồi
where
ra.
Katie is.
Vào đây. Thắm ơi, thắm ra.
Thắm ra.
Thắm ra.
That's where Kath is. And then they're working there. And if we come through here, there's another small alcove in the back here. And in the back here there's some pottery and bits and pieces.
Pottery inside.
Yeah. And bits of bone. So we're going to go ahead and through there. So it's just small concentrations. But you see some bits of animal bone, snails. Here, the snails, animal bone. We've got a bit of, there's a monkey humerus here somewhere, yeah, here. Monkey humerus. Ulni for monkey. Here. Metapodial. And here is a fragment of cord-marked ceramic. Here. And there's another piece there.
Why?
So cord-marked ceramic here. And then we've got another, but you can see all the very small fragments of badly corroded bone. There's another fragment of bone in there. So it just seemed to have accumulated, or people have accumulated them here. And then if we go round behind my cameraman, round that way.
Maybe animal bring something here.
Could be, but why would it bring some? Here's another area, got a few snails in, very wet. You can see where the water level was, so this is had water in it. There's quite a lot of small vertebrate remains. I've seen some snake and some bat. Various people. It doesn't seem to be much cultural in there at all, but we may sample it for small vertebrate stuff anyway in there. So, yeah.
What is this? Pottery?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's old, isn't it?
you can bring it and ask the Tấn, you know.
Yeah, there's two bits. We'll record them. I'll come in later and we'll photograph it all. And then there's another piece here. Look. Sorry.
Giống bên đây cũng giống.
Old.
See.
Look very old.
It's very old. It's very old ceramic.
The outside is woven by bamboo or something.
Yeah. So that's good because that's very old pottery. That's not very recent.
Yeah.
This is a piece of limestone, so it's okay.
It's very old. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So we were right. It's a very old pottery. So that's
Inside
good.
pottery, there's some space and buncher.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's quite fun, isn't it? We've got some very old pottery.
Xương trong kia kìa.
And there's no new pottery here. There's a bone there, animal bone there.
Chứ họ cũng vào các hàng hóc cái ấy họ
Giấu trong này.
chui nổi kim nhỉ.
Em không biết không, đây là một gia đình họ ở đây nè.
Vâng.
Cái hộ này là một gia đình ở.
But we'll photograph these before we take them up, and then we'll take it up. Okay.
Cái này như là một ngăn buồng.
Đấy. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Nhưng cái chỗ nhỏ đấy này, về sau này những cái phủ nó nhỏ lại thì
Đúng rồi.
Okay.
Tay nhú đấy. Đi ra đi em. Chui đã. Không cứ chui đi.
At the bottom,
Rồi, ông giới thiệu đi.
bottom of the debris slope, as you can see the debris up
Phải
through
quay
here,
mồm ông cái đấy chứ.
then up and up. There's the
Đất
stairs up to
ông
the
soi
top,
đi mãi tới trên.
and this is the debris down the bottom, down here. So it slopes, and then you're down onto the floor that this material must have come down onto here. You can see it's all down on the top of this, down through. And then there's a small gap which we have to be careful when we go through, where I'm stood, and we're going down through here. There's a gap in the floor here, and I can see down through to the bottom of the cone, and the deposits from the bottom of the cone down here. There's the bottom of the cone. The cone's down through here, and all the shell is up over there. There's a huge shell mound up over there, in there, which we're going to go and have a look at. And this is the cone down here.
Đâu cái hang này là hôm qua mình xuống này, còn cái hang dưới thì chưa.
And that looks like, yeah, could be a bit of wood, but it might be a bit of land there, but I'll check that out. So in there. So that's the bottom of the cone. I'm going to go down there in a bit, and you can see the floor surface where the material is built up against here, down under there. So it's gone right down underneath this floor that I'm stood on. Okay, you can come around the edge. And this is off to my right, to the south, I think. You can see inside the cave and all the columns. This one's come down at some point. That one has come down. Columns here. And we're going to go through the little passage that I'm sat next to, and this is into the back of this cave system. You can see all the bats on the roof. I'll try not to scare them too much. They're all, I think, Hypsiderus by the look of the bone. Be a bit quiet because it's bat roost at the top. There's the bats. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Okay. And this is the floor. There used to be a bat roost here, but it looks like they've been scared off already. This was a bat roost. They might well have moved already because of the noise and stuff. But these are the the back walls. See in a minute. And this is where you can see where the water level used to be. Across here. We'll go in there in a second. These columns. These beautiful columns here. Yeah.
Người quả nhiều quá. Khẩu nãy mình muốn quay mà không quay được.
Down here. There's stone here.
Press here.
Cái này à? Xít này.
Wood.
Ui đây này, còn đá này.
Đá quậy à?
Không phải. Lặng lắm.
Stone.
Don't, yeah.
Cái cột giữ cái thứ ba này.
Cái này à?
Ừ.
Đấy.
Cái đó nó cũng
Cá.
luôn.
Đây
Can you hear me?
Đấy. Đúng không?
Đúng rồi, đây đây.
Thế này.
There's absolutely tons of loose shell down here.
There's many stone here. Many...
Không không không. Mó thôi đừng có.
Yeah, just-
Lại để vào chỗ đấy.
Để nguyên đi.
Leave, don't knock,
Yeah.
tell us just not to touch.
Đừng động, để nguyên.
Vâng, ở đây công nhận nắm nhỉ? Để cùng bà cây trên kìa.
Có.
Nhận cái máy để ấy nhỉ?
It smells.
Sao tâm
Hey. Oh, which way are you going? No, on the edges, on here. No, on here. Stand on. Oh, this down here. We're in the whirlpool, and this is a gap at the back of the whirlpool, which flows down into the alcove, which we'll have a look at in a minute. And that's a gap through into the alcove. That's a gap through into the whirlpool. We're going to go around into the alcove. To the alcove part at the back. Down through here. And what we'll do, we'll have a look and you can see where the whirlpool and overflow flows into the back of the alcove. Or what we're calling the alcove anyway. Back in the alcove. This is the dumped deposits in here. But what we want to look at, this is another whirlpool, as you can see, where the water level has been in the past. Through here. If we look at the back, right at the back, that's where the overflow comes in through from the platform into this whirlpool here. And we've got some shell, small bits of bone. There may be some few bits of small crab dactyl, and there's some bits of snake which actually look slightly more modern than the material coated in the concretions. And here you can see, down in here you can see some of the snake vertebra and ribs and some of the shell that's come through. Probably this material has come through from the other side. Whereas this material that Long and I are about to take up is different. It's too high. There you can see there has been some water here before, but most of it's not actually coated in concretion at all. And Long, can you come through?
Yeah.
Through here, sir? Okay, and then we're going to separate it out into pottery and shell and bone. Most of the bone is in pretty poor decayed condition. We've got a monkey ulna here, part of a monkey humerus down here, Cercopithecidae probably, and then we've got quite a bit of shell and stone as well, but this is in pretty poor condition. I think people coming in and out, it's best probably to take it up. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, Locke, do you want to come and take up some of this material? 7003 is for this material down here. And I've got 7004 for this material up here. So if the cameraman moves back there, you can get into this material here. Okay. This is the cyclophorid and Camina that Kath tells us we've got in most of the deposits outside. The pottery, Long and John tell me, is actually Dabut, which is how old, Long?
Dabut.
How old?
About 7,000 years ago.
7,000 year old, so this has been here quite a long time. There's no evidence that any of this is actually any more recent than that. So we'll clear out some of the sediment as well. Just for botanical use. Have you got a trowel there? Try and get some of this deposit out. And let Chris have a look at it. Looks like there might be some wood and stuff in here, charcoal. What's this? Monkey boas. Just the sediment. Okay, Long, do you want to do the same with this one?
This one?
Yeah, if I get out of your way, you can come in. Do the other one.
You want to take cell?
Yeah. Okay.
Cell first.
Show first.
Okay.
We'll take out the big bits anyway. There's quite a lot of circuit pith in here. There's actually, yeah, there is a lot. Someone's lunch. It's all been previously photographed and measured. Getting levels on this stuff is pretty impossible back here. But we've got a film record of us doing this as well, which would be good. Okay, how do we show it? Where's our pottery? There's two pieces, isn't there? One here.
Chưa quay cái này.
Gốm.
Careful. Be careful with this. Good on. This.
No,
No.
there you go.
Yeah. I think this is just No? Do you want to put it in just in case? Yeah, it's a bit easier to have a look at it on the surface, won't it?
Yeah.
Actually, it weighs quite a bit of steel, I don't bang. Okay. Some of this stone, I don't think this is any. Shell wing for the shell bag?
Yeah.
Shell that. Yeah, okay. Finishing up summary for this year. We'll start here where most of the work took place with Catherine and Joanna earlier. They finished this excavating 1/3 of this gower pool yesterday. Levels, photographs, all completed. We removed the material that was on the surface here down to this hard concreted surface underneath here. It doesn't appear there's anything more archaeological within this gower pool. So the materials just developed within this latest phase of gower pool development, and the concretion, as we saw before, was actually on the upper surface of all the shells and stone, crab claws, bone, various other materials. We've excavated about 1/3, and then here we've left probably 2/3 in situ for next season. We have enough information from this side for the moment to deal with. In fact, we have lots of samples and there's lots of material. One of the things that we found out towards the end was that there's a hole in the back here, and the gower pool in the alcove around the other side of this wall here is actually runoff from this gower pool, and some shell and material has passed through into there. So That's a good interpretation there. And we've taken a sample from a piece of flowstone in the corner here, and this flowstone overlies shell and bone material, which relates to this pool here. Chris Hunt is going to try and date some of the material, or some of the calcite material that's precipitated on the stone itself. And along with the Daput pottery, hopefully we should have a good date for the deposition of this material.
Yes.
Really neat. So that's been very exciting, very successful, I think. Now some of the other things that we've been trying to do, as you know, is down here. We have the actual roof fall itself, and material down over here. Do you want to there? This is clearly roof fall, probably from the most recent and possibly largest of the materials that came down. As you know, you've been collecting stone tools yourself, full of shell, some bone, some modern, some little bit older. It's a real mix of material. But down here on the edge here, you yourself first spotted that there's quite a bit of shell and stone that's actually concreted, or there's calcite formation and precipitation adhering the stone and shell to the surface. So we decided to clean a small area of this and have a look and see whether we could find any kind of earlier phases of material or cultural deposition prior to this last fall here. So if we're going to have a look at that. So here we've got, on this side here, we have, this here is the fall, the most recent fall, all loose material, and it came right down over and was stood on the material here that we've cleaned off this section. Here we've got the calcite, and this is a formation precipitation probably from the rocks dripping from the roof, and you can see that some of this material is actually well embedded within this calcite. This suggests that maybe some of this material has come down earlier than the last fall, and it's been here much longer than the latest of the roof falls. It could relate to an earlier roof fall, which is a distinct possibility, or it could be that there's always been some sort of fissure in the top and people have dumped material down, and this talus has been developing over quite some considerable amount of time. Here we have a red, a kind of clayey silt, which Chris Hunt tells us that is also got material from exterior material. This actually underlies some of the calcite here. You can see the calcite's very, very thin and broken through here. And further over, and I'll show you in a minute, we've actually got this material in section, and there is actually shell in the surface. So again, it seems to suggest earlier phases of material coming down into this cave. The bottle, which you probably saw earlier, is for one of Chris's. We're collecting water for isotope deep in the cave. There's about 1/3 full so far, so I'll pick that up tomorrow or the day after. Right, so if we go up to the section at the top here, I can show you some of the development of some of the cave sediments that go back quite some distance in time and are below this red clay. What's interesting about this artifact with a hollow in the middle, which is typically of these grinding stones here, is it's completely coated in this calcite formation over the top here, as is quite a lot of the material underlying some of this later rubble and rock fall here. So again, this might suggest it's come down earlier than the rest of this rock fall, and you can see how the deposits slope down from the east end where the ladder is and up to the roof, down to the west. Yeah. So we'll go and have a look at this section here and we'll discuss that. This section Chris and I decided to clean up because it had been dug out previously probably by treasure hunters, I think, was it? Yeah. So all we did was actually clean up the section, and it was quite a useful exercise because we could actually see the development of these deposits, sequential development through time. The upper one here, with all the shell on the top, is probably related to the most recent rockfall and roof fall from here, which has deposited all this loose material on the surface of the cave here. Below that, here, is a reddish brown clayey silt. But what's interesting, clearly here, you can actually see that there are snails embedded in that red clay, which I suspect relates to material that's been introduced into this cave from above at an earlier date than the latest roof fall. Below that, in here, we have a series of different cave sediment build-ups back through time. Some are quite reddish brown, some are much more yellowy in colour here. Some contain quite large fragments of roof fall, like this one here. And in some places, like here for example, it's tried to form some sort of flowstone in itself, miserably failed. But this is really good sequence. We've sampled all these, and Chris has those samples now for sedimentology and various other analytical studies that he wishes to undertake. Okay.
Okay.
This is the fourth area, or what we call Area B, that we opted to take a look at this year. When we first started to study this, it was an intriguing because this shell midden could not have been deposited from the roof fall, which is over behind me, behind the stairs over here, over that way. There's a roof fall. You can clearly see that we're behind the stairs, underneath part of the roof here, and it appears from here you can see there's a big midden with lots of loose shell down over the surface of this red clay here. So it was quite intriguing to work out how this material had managed to get into this corner of this cave. Certainly we can't find any entrance except the one that's 18 meters above us, which is a cave at the top that the others are working in. Now, what we noticed was there's a hole here in the top, and once we actually investigated that, there's actually a cavity that runs high into the cave, and probably this material over thousands of years has been falling from the deposits above down through this cavity and emerging into this cave underneath, 18 meters below. And this represents a midden, or part of a midden material that's been redeposited down in this lower cave. What's intriguing is we have all this loose shell on the top, land snails, very similar to above. There's a red clay here, and when we did a preliminary excavation here, we noted that there's a deep red clay sediment here, or clay silt sediment, which is devoid of shell, and then underneath is another large shell horizon, which we currently believe is associated with this shell in the corner here. This is what we first spotted and were intrigued by, was this shell here with, as you can see, a flowstone over the top, flowstone development over the top. We've now taken a sample from here for dating, but this clearly belongs to an earlier phase of deposition than the shell here. We also pulled a really nice stone tool out of the upper horizon of this lower shell deposit here. We don't plan to excavate any further here this year. We kind of understand what is happening within this area. what I'm actually stood on, or here, is we've got a little bit of sediment on the top, but this shell midden continues down slope, and it wouldn't surprise me if when we took this shell midden off here, that below it is further midden material. So although it's redeposited from above, it's also still stratified in some way here. So hopefully we can get dates from the shell and flowstone and get some idea of how long ago this material was deposited in this lower cave here. So for the moment, that's all we plan to do down here, and we've moved back upstairs. There's still more research to be done here, but as time is short and this was just a preliminary excavation, we'll leave this for next year. So overall, that's all we're going to do this year down here. At the moment, I've still got the survey to do, but we'll continue. I'm going to be back at base, clearing up and doing other things there, like doing samples and stuff. Good?
Great.
This, I think, was earlier than this. And this is, I'm happy about that. I'm happy about that. So if I take,
But isn't this the same as that?
what, the same as this?
Yeah.
Well, I just wonder, because this flowstone is clearly formed on the top of this, and this is actually sat in over the top. And this part of this flowstone clearly was part of this at one point.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
And
It's
this
gone
is
back
broken
in.
off and slipped down there.
Yeah.
So that suggests to me that this lot is actually post-dates this. Yeah? Because this flowstone is clearly formed over the top of this. What do you think?
Yeah, that flowstone is over the top of this, definitely.
Yeah.
There's been an intrusion which allowed stuff to go back in on itself.
Ah, right, okay, got you. Yeah, so all this sediment is probably all part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, got you.
I
And
would
this
have thought
is
so.
an intrusion rather than this being a deposit over the top of...
Oh no, I think this is an intrusion. This is a deposit over the top.
Yeah.
But something's come in and scoured it out, which has allowed that to fall back in. That's
Right,
all.
okay, got it, yeah. So we'll
But
take...
given its location, things are going to start cementing up again fairly quickly.
Right,
Because
okay.
you've got this column right above you.
Right, okay, so we could take a sample from here
Yep.
and from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we
yeah.
got earlier, later.
Yep.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Sound good, Rod?
Sound good.
Yeah? Excellent. So we'll do that. Yeah, got you now. So this is all infilled in what was a hollow in here at some point. Yeah, what I was saying is this flowstone here, you see, is formed over the top of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just think this might be the same as this.
Yeah.
In which case that must predate it because this has gone over that.
Right, okay.
That's what I was thinking. But then something's disturbed all this.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this has then gone back in.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
You just take your picture from it.
Yeah.
Lấy rồi, lấy
Không kể cái nào.
Okay.
Hai cân đợt này về thì xích mấy cân xong rồi về em sẵn cho em mở cái gái nhìn mẹ đi công tác về xong béo tốt chưa. Mở đi công tác về gái nhìn mẹ đi công tác về xong béo tốt chưa.
Hỏi hàng nó